Hey everyone, welcome back to what is the norm for this agent investor group, which is that every Tuesday at 11 a.m. I do a live stream. And because we started off this year with the 5-week contest, I haven't had the opportunity really to do a traditional live stream because after the 5 weeks were over, what I ended up doing, as you all know, is we had an in-person live stream related to systems. So we're officially back now doing the traditional, every Tuesday at 11 a.m. So I'm glad that I see, you guys kind of like popping on here. I appreciate everybody that is hopping on. And today, I'm really going to share with you guys, and actually, let me pick up my mic so that you guys can hear me a little bit better. My mic was on the ground, I just noticed. But today I'm going to share with you guys really my secrets for success in business, period. Because when I first started in real estate sales and in real estate in general, I had a real fear of selling. And, I have close friends and I know people in the business, and I have people at this brokerage that they love going out. They love talking to people. They love being the center of attention. They love being at open houses. They like calling their friends and staying in communication with their friends, and they're the life of the party. And that's just not me. I was never that person. It's a struggle for me in the beginning of my career just to be in sales. It was a struggle for me to be in sales because I always had that fear of coming off like as that used car salesperson. And so for me, selling in the traditional way, getting deals in the traditional way, getting business in the traditional way just wasn't going to work for me. I'm not a salesperson by nature. I'm not a prospector. So I had to figure out a way to kind of do this, to get deals, to get leads, to grow my business. That wasn't, me being the life of the party, wasn't me making 300 cold calls a day, wasn't, doing kind of the tried and true traditional things. And I knew I wanted to be in real estate. I knew I wanted to get deals. I knew I wanted to grow my business. I knew I wanted to grow my brokerage, but I didn't have the skill set or the personality to do it the way that most people do it. So if you're like me, if you're kind of more the introverted type, that maybe gets a little bit nervous to reach out to their friends, to pitch them on deals or to get them to communicate with you, then this session is going to be for you. Because in this session, I'm going to show all of you how to attract business, not go after business, not prospected business, but to actually attract business. And it's something that what I'm going to teach you guys today is something that absolutely anybody can do. And as I talk about what I do and what I've been doing, you're all going to realize that you've been a part of what I've been doing. Okay, you're going to realize and you're going to see that there's a method, really to all of my madness of every single thing, that I do. And you're going to see how I have probably attracted you in. And I'm going to show you how you can do that too, whether you're trying to attract investment deals, whether you're trying to attract capital, whether you're trying to build a team, no matter what you're trying to do, doing sales in a different way is possible. Doing sales without prospecting, doing sales without, feeling like you're bugging your friends. And so what I'm going to talk about today is using education-based selling to grow your business. Okay. So what is education-based selling? Well, first and foremost, it's an idea that I made up. Okay. That phrase I made up, there's really probably if you Googled education-based selling, I'm not sure if anything would pop up. But how I've built my business, how I've built my brokerage, how I've built my investing business, how I've built my life is based on education-based selling and attracting people. Then instead of me getting somebody on the phone being like, hey, do you want to join my brokerage? Hey, do you want to sell me your house? I've had it so that the deals end up coming to me. So first and foremost, what do I define as education-based selling? Education-based selling is literally educating somebody or providing value to somebody in exchange, in theory, for nothing, right? And everybody who's on here is probably a part of my agent investor group. Okay. So I'm gonna just show you guys and talk to you guys about how I've specifically done this. And again, keep in mind, this education-based sales can be used in pretty much any way that you want. Okay. So you're all part of my agent investor group. And a lot of people will say to me, the first thing that they kind of ask usually is, well, what's in it for you when I join the group? Because you're providing free training, like the training that I'm providing today, or I'm providing, free educational events. I'm paying for hotels. I'm doing a lot of stuff that requires capital or requires me to actually go out of my way. So, like, what's the purpose of me doing it? And I guess I would say, like, for me, and for somebody who's considering doing an education-based selling, you first have to enjoy teaching. You have to enjoy helping people. So education-based selling, it's not for everybody, right? Again, I talked about kind of in the intro. If you're like the life of the party, if you need to be in front of people, if the way that you sell is working for you, you don't necessarily need to add an education-based component. And no matter what lead generation strategy you're doing, the lead generation strategy that you do needs to be something that you want to do and you feel comfortable doing every day. And the reason I'm talking about education-based selling for me and creating funnels related to education is because of the fact that I feel comfortable doing it each and every day. So what does that mean for me? What are some of the things that you do with education-based selling? What are some of the results that you can potentially get, and what are some strategies on how to do it? So kind of like, again, high level, what you want to think about with education-based selling is you're teaching or you're training or you're providing value to a group of people that want to get educated, they want value, they want to come to events, they want to hear you speak, they want to read your blogs or your posts, or they want to follow you on Twitter or Instagram, and you're providing them with something, a perspective or knowledge that they can't maybe necessarily get somewhere else, and you're doing it for free. So the first thing about education-based selling is that you're trying to gather an audience, okay? So you're trying to get your target audience to pay attention to you. So when you're thinking about like the exact type of education that you're potentially providing, it's really just, what do you enjoy teaching on? Now, for all of you guys that are listening to me right now, you know I focus on agents investing in real estate. That's something that I know very well. It's something that I feel comfortable teaching on. And it's something that I can monetize or make money on. So you have to be able to do all of those things, right? You have to enjoy doing it. You have to be knowledgeable in it. It has to be something that people want to learn about, right? If you just pick some random topic that nobody's potentially interested in, you're not going to get that audience. So you need an audience. You need your target audience to really want it. And you need a way to potentially monetize it, okay? So again, I'm going to talk about like how I've done it specifically with Agent Investor, just so that you guys can all get an understanding. But I want to make it very clear that the way that I do it with Agent Investor doesn't need to be the way that you do it. It doesn't need to be the topic that you do it with. But I'm just going to explain to you all so that you understand how you could potentially monetize and create a lead generation funnel by providing education. So first and foremost, you have to be able to provide good content. But the question is, number one, where do you put the content? Number two, what type of content do you provide? And how do you make sure that people see it, right? Because it's one thing they just kind of turn on, Facebook and turn on a live, but it's another thing to get a bunch of people to actually pay attention. So we're going to talk about all of those things right now. So the first thing that you want to think about, again, is like, what do you want to train on? For me, I train on agents investing in real estate. Okay. So I do a few different things. You don't need to do all of these things, but I do a few different things. The first thing that I do is I have a Facebook group. I love Facebook groups for the purpose of education-based learning. Facebook groups are great because you can create a Facebook group around the niche that you want to teach. And again, keep in mind, you can teach on any niche that you want. I happen to pick agents that want to invest in real estate or help their clients invest in real estate. So it's very niche down, right? Only a certain percentage of the population are going to be interested in that. There are 2 million agents across the United States, and maybe 10 to 15% of them are going to really resonate with investing. But I use a Facebook group, and the reason I like Facebook groups for the purpose of education-based learning, number one, is education. Facebook already has eyeballs on it. And Facebook groups are something that most people are in already and know a good amount about. Now, to create a really good Facebook group isn't that hard because most Facebook groups aren't really run the right way. So to be able to provide good content in a Facebook group is something that you're going to stand out if you do it, because most people don't do it. So with the way that I use the Facebook group, again, I niche down. I have a specific way that I target, and I invite agents into the Facebook group. Now, when I invite agents into the Facebook group to get eyeballs, I do it in a number of different ways. One of the ways I do it is to email people. One of the ways I do it is to post on my own Facebook group. One of the ways I do it is to DM real estate agents and just tell them about it. And then, of course, the group also grows organically. But in order to do this well, and as I say this, I'm not perfect at any of this stuff, but I do the best that I can. In the Facebook group every single week, and on my personal page, and on my LinkedIn page, I live stream once a week on a topic. Today is a perfect example of this, right? I'm trying to help educate anybody that's paying attention right now on how to generate leads without actually prospecting or cold calling or reaching out to your friends or family. So once a week, every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, I'm providing content. The great thing about providing content is that even if you don't have 1 million people tuning in every single week, if you store it in a Facebook group, and when you live stream in a Facebook group, it gets recorded, it becomes evergreen content that just goes over and over and over again. So there are live streams that I've done, a year ago, 2 years ago, that people will watch after the fact, right? So there's kind of like two components of the education-based funnel. Number one, you've got to add people into the funnel. And number two, you have to provide really good content, or the best content that you can on that topic. So again, I talked about Facebook, a Facebook group, how I get people in. And then again, once a week, I'm providing a live stream. Also, I'm using social media of other kinds, right? So I'm producing 1 or 2 pieces of content a week that I'm both posting in my Facebook group, on my personal profile, on my Twitter account, on my LinkedIn account, with, again, information on how to help real estate agents achieve financial freedom by investing in real estate, or how to help their clients invest in real estate. So another thing that I do is I have a podcast. Some of you guys have listened to my podcast, the Agent Investor Podcast. I love podcasting. I think podcasting is one of the most effective ways to sell in an education-based model, and I'm going to tell you why. It's really cool that I have a bunch of people listening to this on a live stream right now. However, the problem with the live stream, even no matter what time of the day that you do it, somebody has to be like actively engaged and take time out of their day to make sure that they're clicking on the link and that they're watching, right? As soon as this thing ends, it will be stored, but it's not going to be accessible in the easy to use format. Like, there's a big difference between listening to a podcast and listening to a live stream, or going into a Facebook group after the fact and listening to this video. It is a heck of a lot more convenient to download, a podcast app like Apple Podcast, or, iTunes, or whatever you guys are using, Spotify, and to walk around while you're doing your laundry, while you're in your car, on the way to an appointment and listen to a podcast. The reason I love podcasting with educational-based selling is that podcast listeners feel like they know you. They literally feel like they know you. And, when I'm doing a podcast or when I'm interviewing somebody, I'm always going to bring up like anecdotes about my life just because, my life is my life and I'm thinking about stuff. So I might talk about the fact that I've got 4 kids or the fact that, I'm taking my 3 sons to hockey practice today or whatever I have going on. I'm taking my daughter to figure skating or something about, my wife. People feel like they know you. I know that this goes without saying because you're a real estate agent, but people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And there's probably no better medium in order to do that than podcasting. So as I'm listing these things, I just want to kind of make everybody aware that I'm giving you guys a high-level overview. If you want to sell in an education-based platform, you don't want to run out and get a podcast tomorrow. You don't want to start a Facebook group all at once. Like we talk about in Agent Investor, you always need to think about the top 3 to 6 things that are priorities for you in your business that quarter. What I'm telling you about is a system that I've developed that has taken me years. So keep this in mind that you don't want to do a million different things at once. What I want you all to be thinking about as you're listening to this live, first and foremost, is like, is this stuff going to be of value to you? Like, do you want to add an education-based component to your business or not? Okay. So I talked about the Facebook group. I talked about, traditional social media. I talked about my podcast. Another thing that I want to bring up, which again, I'm sure probably everybody is aware of this on this call, is my email list. So I have a ton of real estate agent emails, and I stay in front of real estate agents by emails. When I send out an email, I'm always doing my very best to provide an email that as a standalone, if you just read my email, you would get some sort of value related to investing, okay? Hey everyone, this is Tom Caffarella. I want to quickly interrupt the podcast to, number one, thank all of my loyal listeners of the Agent Investor podcast and tell you guys really quickly about an exciting event we have coming up. It's a 2-day event. It's called the Passive Income Real Estate Investor Event that you can find out more details at passiveincomeevent.com. We're going to be doing a 2-day training session teaching all of the agents and all of the investors at the event on how to achieve financial freedom through real estate. If you're like me and your goal is to not work 80, 100 hours a week grinding, selling real estate, flipping homes, definitely check out this event. We're going to teach you how to build a passive income portfolio so that you can retire, so that you can work when you want, how you want, and ultimately achieve financial freedom. So again, go to passiveincomeevent.com for more details, and we look forward to seeing you at the upcoming event. So whether I'm doing a podcast, I'm sending out an email, I'm running a 2-day event. You guys know that we have a 2-day event coming up in April. In person is one of the best ways to have sales in an education-based selling component. And actually, as I say this, I should keep in mind that if you guys like our content and you feel like you're getting value out of our content, you've been in our Facebook group and you haven't yet registered for our 2-day event, our Agent Investment Systems event that we're having in April, I would encourage you to register today. We only have 250 people that can come to the event that's going to take place in Woburn, Massachusetts on April 12th and April 13th. If you have the opportunity right now, please register today at www.agentinvestorevent.com. Again, that's www.agentinvestorevent.com. The event is free. We even pay for your lunch. So I just want to let people know to register because that reminded me. But having in-person events is also another hallmark of an education-based system, okay? So those are kind of like the lead generation mechanisms that I use and that I would consider for all of you to use. There's other ones too, right? If you're a writer, you can create a blog. If you love in-person events, you can do in-person, the Facebook group, regular social media. So you have to figure out if you want to provide an education-based selling system, what platforms you're going to use, which ones fit your personality, your style, which ones you want to add on. But now let's talk about like how you can actually get business from this. Because at the end of the day, I do love training and teaching, and I give up a lot of my time for free helping real estate agents achieve financial freedom in real estate. And most of them don't pay me, right? Most of them I don't monetize in any way. But I do have 3 ways that I monetize my Facebook group, my podcast, and my in-person events. And one of them is to join my brokerage. One of them is to have a paid coaching. And then the third way is I raise capital for my apartment deals. So you can kind of use your educational-based selling in a similar way to me. And there's a million different ways that you can monetize having an education-based platform. But I just want to talk really quickly about like some of the different mechanisms that you can kind of use and some of the different types of leads that you can generate. So I led in, and one of the titles is essentially like, how do you get business from just basically teaching and training? So it really depends when you're thinking about building an education-based system. You want to think about like, what are you trying to get out of it? You want to kind of put it down on paper. Like, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to raise capital? Are you trying to get deal flow? Are you trying to build a brokerage or a team? Are you trying to do all of the above? So you have to prioritize, what is the end goal for you of doing all this stuff? And for the most part, you can generate almost any kind of lead that you want from an education-based selling system, as long as you're providing really good content, you've picked the right audience, you're providing value, and then you have calls to action all along the way, right? So I don't do a perfect job of this, but I try my best as I'm teaching and training and doing my stuff for free to always give people the ability to take the next step if they want to, right? Again, sometimes I get caught up in teaching and training that I forget to do this. But regardless of what educational-based system you're teaching on, you want to always provide value. And then, hey, if this sounds good to you, then you take the next step. I just did a quick call to action to come to my 2-day event. Another call to action that I could do, and that I typically do when I remember, is I talk a little bit about my Inner Circle program. And I talk about the fact that, hey, if you like what I have to say on video, you've come to my office, you've gotten value, but you want individualized, personalized, one-on-one help, the next step would be to learn about our Inner Circle program. And anybody can learn about our Inner Circle program by jumping on a call with me and going to agentinvestorinnercircle.com. Okay. If you go to agentinvestorinnercircle.com, you can book a call with me and we can talk about whether or not it makes sense for you to take the next step. Do you guys see how I'm doing this? I know it's kind of an odd thing because I'm actually doing the activity right now that I'm teaching you how to do at the same time. So it's a very, very kind of like strange way to present for me, but I want to teach you guys how to do this if it's something that you want. And again, backing up, taking a step backwards, this is for the teachers in us. This is for the people that like to present. This is for the people that can get comfortable producing content, are good writers, can produce good emails, can produce good social media, can grow a following on social media, like to do live streams, would consider doing a podcast. If those are the types of activities that you feel like, oh, I would much rather do that than going to an open house, calling my friends, prospecting, then an education-based system might be for you. It's not for everybody. And no lead generation system is perfect. This stuff takes time, effort, and energy. And what you guys will see, like, as I'm providing this, is we'll get, like, for example, the 5-step contest that we just did. It took me probably 20 hours to develop both the contest and the content for the contest. I get paid nothing for doing that, right? Then I have to promote it, right? Like I actually have to promote out to you guys, hey, why don't you sign up for this? This is the value you're going to get out of this. This is free, right? Then out of all of those people who agree that the 5-step contest that we started in the beginning of January is a good idea, only a fraction of those people show up, right? So I don't get paid, I don't get anything for all the people that didn't show up. Then out of all the people that show up, this is just like every sales funnel. This is no different than if you buy a bunch of Zillow leads. Like most of the Zillow leads aren't going to pick up the phone. Those that do, most of those still aren't going to work with you. It's the same exact thing, right? So it's still sales. It's just done in a different way. And for me, like going back to like why I'm so passionate about this is something that I enjoy doing. I like doing, and getting back to the original point of like, you've got to do a lead generation strategy that you feel comfortable with, that you like. Okay. So I do want to talk quickly just about like the types of audiences, because you guys, if you look at what I do with Agent Investor, you can see I have a target audience. I have real estate agents. Anybody who's a real estate agent is potentially in my niche. But then I have to figure out, like, are they interested in investing? And I've seen a lot of different people do this in a lot of different ways. And I actually challenge all of you guys to think about other education-based funnels that you've seen, right? There are a million of them out there that you've probably even been in their funnel yourself. So I would challenge you to kind of think about, like, what education-based funnels have you seen? And then what is your target niche? Like, who are you trying to get in front of? And how can you provide them with free and valuable content that they don't have to pay for? Then in the end, a certain percentage of those people are going to know, like, and trust you and want to do business with you. So I'll give you just some other examples of ways that I've seen other people do this and do it well and generate leads, whether it's investment leads or retail leads. I've seen some real estate agents and investors create community pages. So if you guys ever see, like, I'm in Wakefield, a Wakefield-based community page or a Boston-based community page that's run really well, a lot of times people are using that as a funnel. So I'm just giving you examples. I'm not telling you should do any of these things. For more clarity on your particular situation, I would recommend scheduling an inner circle call and talking through that a little bit more, or consider joining the inner circle. So I'm just giving you examples, but I know a lot of agents that have done a really good job of creating community-based things, right? I have a podcast coach. The name of his podcast is called Philly Who, like Philadelphia. Everything about his podcast is about Philadelphia. And he actually has one of the top podcasts in the country. Now, if you are a real estate agent who service clients in Philadelphia, how valuable would it be for you to own Philly Who and to get people who live in Philadelphia to listen to that? And then throughout the course of the podcast, even if it's just one time throughout the course of a podcast, push people to some call to action. Maybe it's a Facebook group about Philadelphia. Maybe you're pushing them to, just let them know, hey, I'm a real estate agent or I'm an investor looking for deals. Again, we talked about in the beginning of this, you need an audience. So in this example, this person has Philly Who, that's a podcast. Another example that I've seen people do, again, is use community pages. In that example, he could have a Philly Who podcast. He could have a Philly Who Facebook group, okay? The Facebook group, as I talked about in the beginning, has a lot of unique benefits. One of the unique benefits that I'm sure you have all seen is that when you join a Facebook group, you can make people give you your emails and your phone numbers, which we do, right? Because again, I love teaching. I highly suggest it. I would do it for free if I was a billionaire. But given that I'm not a billionaire yet, I have to monetize this in some way. So again, whatever your niche is, your niche could be a specific city. It could be a specific hobby, right? My 3 boys, they play hockey, right? I could create something hockey related. It doesn't matter what the thing is. Once you have attention, right, you're just running your commercial. Think about it like this, like you're trying to create through this education-based system, almost like a TV channel, right? My agent investor, this is my brand, this is my TV channel. No matter what I'm selling, I could be talking about, I'm going to always talk about helping agents achieve financial freedom through investing. I'm going to get as many agents to pay attention to me as possible. And then I'm going to run a commercial through the podcast, through my Facebook Lives, on my Facebook group, in my emails, because I know I have somebody's attention. So then I'm going to do a call to action. So all you're looking for is what thing can you teach on or get people interested in? What brand can you build? Philly who? Agent investor. And then throughout the course of providing 95% value, you're running your commercials through every once in a while. And I'm hoping this all kind of makes sense to everybody, because to me, this is like the biggest no-brainer and the easiest way to get leads. And these leads, by the way, they're all free. They're all 100% free, right? It doesn't cost me anything to start a Facebook group. It doesn't cost me anything to do this live right now. And as I'm doing the live, I will generate leads from it. I'm going to get people to come to my 2-day event. I just showed you guys, hey, if you want to get more help, you can jump on my agent investor inner circle call, right? So again, it's all about figuring out like what you want to teach on, what platforms you want to teach on, making sure that you're delivering valuable content. So I do want to talk just really quickly about like how not to do it, because how not to do it is, important too. So there's kind of like a ratio of how much self-promotion you can do versus how much value you deliver. And while there's not necessarily like 100% answer to this, I would say you've got to at least be providing 80% valuable content to 20% commercials. I mean, again, if you think about it, like running a TV station, it's really no different. If ABC ran 80% commercials and 20% of the time they provided, an entertaining show, you would never watch ABC again. And I know, in this day and age, we probably all complain too much about, commercials being on TV. But you have to think about it like this, right? Like the NFL is a good example of this. The NFL provides a really good product for free. Like if we have channels like 4, 5, and 7 and Fox, which are very low cost, we can watch a great product, the NFL, for free, but we have to be willing to look at those commercials, right? So the NFL does a great job of providing an entertaining product that people are dying to watch. And people complain that there are commercials, but those commercials are what pay the bills and what provides it for free. And it's no different, again, than an education-based selling system. You guys get to hear me, a very successful real estate investor, agent, broker, for free. For free. Think about that. I'm delivering this to you. You're not paying me, right? But you will hear my commercials throughout. You'll hear me say, hey, book an inner circle call. Hey, come to my event. Hey, do this. Hey, maybe once in a while you hear about my brokerage or joining my brokerage. So with all that being said, the first step really is you guys need to think about whether an education-based selling system is something that's going to work for you. Like, are you comfortable speaking on camera, or can you get comfortable speaking on camera? Can you blog? Can you grow your social media account? Can you come up with good content? Is that something that you want to do? Or does that sound like how cold calling sounds to me? Like when I think about cold calling, I get really nervous. I don't want to do it. I could do it. I could, but I'd be forcing myself to do it every day. So this education-based selling system has to be something where you're like, wow, I didn't even know you could make money doing that. Now that I know, I would be excited to maybe build a podcast, build a Facebook group, blog, write good posts for my social media accounts and educate somebody. And it really, I can't stress this enough. It can be any niche that you want, as long as the people that are in that niche could potentially be clients of yours, could potentially be customers of yours. You don't want to teach on something that you can't monetize, or else it's just a hobby, which again is perfectly fine. But you don't want to have Philly who if your objective is to get cash offer clients in Boston, Massachusetts, right? So with all of that being said, I think that I've talked enough about whether or not this might be something that will work for you. And what I'm going to be doing at our 2-day event is going into much, much more detail on exactly how I use educational-based systems, the actual step-by-step systems on how I built Agent Investor that you can use, rip off, and duplicate in your own business. And again, for those of you who have not registered for the 2-day event, I'm going to be doing a 90-minute session at the 2-day event in April on the nitty-gritty, on the actual step-by-step systems of how I built out Agent Investor and how you can replicate that in your business to get retail buyers or retail sellers or cash sellers or capital for your investment deals. Really, whatever you want to attract, I'm going to show you the step-by-step systems at the 2-day event. So if you haven't done so already, please, please, please take the time to go to www.agentinvestorevent.com. Again, that's www.agentinvestorevent.com. And I'm going to be going into much, much more detail at that event. What I hope you guys got out of today is just to get an understanding of whether an education-based system is something that you would want to do. For those of you that are already in the inner circle, if you're thinking about doing an education-based selling system, please, please use it as an opportunity to send me a message on Facebook. Use it as an opportunity to be on the inner circle monthly call to ask questions. The biggest thing that we can help you with at Agent Investor is to shortcut the steps to success. How we do that is to help you figure out how you should spend your time. How you spend your time as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, will determine how much money you make. Don't try to test out this stuff on your own. Get some ideas together, come to the table with the ideas, what your plan is, and let us help you. Let us help you. That's what the inner circle is for. So with all that being said, guys, I hope today was valuable for you guys to be on. Again, moving forward, every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, we're going to be doing a live stream. I will be releasing the topics of the live stream typically a few days before we go live. But mark your calendars every single Tuesday at 11. If you found this live stream valuable, there's going to be a lot more that comes with this. Thanks again for listening to the Agent Investor Podcast. And especially thank you for sharing the show with other agents and reviewing the show on iTunes. Every time you share the show and leave a review, you are potentially changing someone's life. To get free weekly education, strategies, and to connect with other agent investors across the country, join our free Facebook group at agentinvestor.com. Again, that's agentinvestor.com.